Welcome back. All right, so today's career video is on Petr Klima. Petr Klima was a number 86 pick by the Detroit Red Wings in 1983, and it turns out to be a pretty smart pick. Now, he's in Czechoslovakia. This is when it's one country, and this is when it's behind the Iron Curtain. Now, the Stastny brothers, they got out from behind that Iron Curtain. They were smuggled out. And the Detroit Red Wings, as early as 1984, were trying to formulate a plan to smuggle out Petr Klima. And the way to do it was really to wait till he's with his national team friends and then basically have him ditch him. And so that's what ends up happening. It is the summer of 1985 that the Wings smuggled him out. They got him out. And this is what they were able to do. And this was dangerous work. You get caught doing this, you're in some serious trouble, right? I mean, with Czechoslovakia, yeah, it was not easy. And so while we can look back now and say, probably fine, probably no big deal, it was a big deal. So Petr Klima comes over, and in 85-86, his first season in the National Hockey League, he shows he's a goal scorer. 74 games, 32 goals, 24 assists, 56 points. He finishes 7th in Calder voting. The one thing with Petr Klima, it's all goals. All goals all the time. Defense, shaky. This was the other comment on him too, was his consistency. So 86-87, 77 games played, 30 goals, 23 assists, 53 points. In the playoffs, he adds a goal, 2 assists for 3 points in 13 games. This is where Detroit's starting to get better. And so Petr Klima is a part of that. 87-88, 78 games played, 37 goals, 25 assists, 62 points. In 12 playoff games, 10 goals, 8 assists, 18 points. Now, this is where it kind of takes a turn. Petr Klima and Bob Probert are roommates. Now, Bob Probert, we know that he had substance abuse problems, and for Petr Klima, it was a lot of drinking. So, September 23rd of 1988, the Wings suspended both Petr Klima and Bob Probert for violating team rules. So, this is curfew. This is, showing up at time on practice, all that fun stuff. And they vowed not to play Klima until he had his drinking under control, is what they said. And they actually publicly said, we're just going to trade him. So there was a lot of anger from the Detroit Red Wings organization. Some of it may have been born out of, hey, we pulled this guy out of Czechoslovakia, and now he's submarining his career with his off-ice habits. Now, to his credit, he did pass whatever tests they gave him. He did rejoin the team. And with his first practice with the team on November 5th, he apologized to all of his teammates. And that was only the first practice, and he did manage to stay clean. So while Bob Probert's story has a sad end, Petr Klima was able to avoid some of the demons that befell Bob Probert. 88-89, Petr Klima, 51 games played, 25 goals, 16 assists, 41 points. So once he's in the lineup, once he's back, the goal scoring is back. Just almost, every other game you can count on a goal. In the playoffs, 6 games played, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. 89-90, 13 games played with Detroit, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points, and then they trade him. So this is over a year after they said they were going to trade him. November 2nd, he's traded with Adam Graves, Joe Murphy, and Jeff Sharples in exchange for a 1991 fifth, Jimmy Carson, and Kevin McClellan. Detroit really wanted to get Carson, and Carson really wanted to go to Detroit. In the end, I'm going to go ahead and say that trade does not favor Detroit, absolutely favors Edmonton. This is an Oilers team that had lost Gretzky, had lost Coffey, some of those key guys from the dynasty, and so adding fresh blood like Graves, Murphy, Sharples, Klima, it all helps. So in 63 games with the Oilers after the trade, 25 goals, 28 assists, and 53 points. It stands out that there's more assists than goals here. As, maybe this is Klima trying to do the team thing. But once we get to the playoffs, a lot of frustration with Klima. And he ends up riding the pine for part of the first game of the Stanley Cup final. As a Bruins fan, I was getting nervous because with each passing minute that he's just sitting there and everybody's out there busting their humps trying to get this game over with, I thought, if they put Klima on the ice, this could be ugly. And it was. At 15-13 of the third overtime, Klima hits the ice and he just goes through everybody and he scores. So it's a 3-2 overtime win in game 1 for the Edmonton Oilers against Boston. They do not look back. They win the Stanley Cup. Over the 21 games that he played, he only recorded 5 goals, 0 assists, but that overtime game winner, absolutely famous, one of the most famous overtime goals to that stage, I'm going to say in Stanley Cup Finals history. I don't know where it ranks now, but still for me, nightmare-inducing. Because again, as a Bruins fan, it was frustrating. 90-91, play 70 games, and clearly buoyed by just, Edmonton and being allowed to go out there and score, and probably coming off the cup win didn't hurt either. 40 goals, 28 assists, 68 points. And then in the playoffs, much better production. 18 games, 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 points. The following season, 91-92, 57 games played. 21 goals, 13 assists, 34 points. In the playoffs, 15 games, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points. Remember, he's pure goals. 95-96 shows that. 68 games, 32 goals, 16 assists, 48 points. And then on June 16th, the Edmonton Oilers trade him to the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for a 1994 third-round pick. So think about it. This is a guy who scored 32 goals. I know goal scoring's up compared to what it is now. It would be the equivalent of like a 25 goal scorer now being traded just for a third-round pick. So this is a guy, too, that when I look at his goal totals here, I think to myself, he would be making, coming out of that first 3 years, that's his entry-level contract, having scored 99 goals that first 3 years, he'd be worth at least $8 million a year in today's market, wouldn't he? Like, it is a lot of money, and again, he is a one-dimensional player. The defense not there. If you're looking for the intensity, that physical intensity, not really there either. So in Tampa in 93-94, team looking for goals, they get that from Klima. 75 games, 28 goals, 27 assists, 55 points. 94-95, lockout shortened season here. 47 games, 13 goals, 13 assists, 26 points. This is the first season where we're starting to see the goals kind of sort of drop, right? 95-96, 67 games played, 22 goals, 30 assists, 52 points. Again, the points per game is good. In the playoffs, he gets 2 goals in 4 games. Not bad. However, on August 22nd, he's traded by the Tampa Bay Lightning to the LA Kings in exchange for a 1997 fifth-round pick. So, yeah, that's the interesting thing. He's a 22-hole guy, 52-point guy, and they're like, yeah, we'll give him up for a fifth-round pick. So it is the defense. So he goes to LA, does not last in LA. 8 games, he has 4 assists and a -7. So being -7 in 8 games, plus minus does not indicate how good a player is over an entire season. But if over an 8-game period a guy's a -7, it might cause some concern, right? So he's traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins on October 25th for futures. So he's gone from being worth a third in 1994 to being worth a fifth in 1997. And during that same season, he's traded for futures. Pittsburgh plays him 9 games, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, and they release him. So, February 26th of 1997, he is signed as a free agent by the Edmonton Oilers. Back to Edmonton he goes. The Oilers looking for some goals, looking for some points. They're an underdog at this stage. But if he can get his goal scoring back, well, he doesn't. 16 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points. Six games in the playoffs, no points there. And the Oilers would then release him from his contract. So 97-98, he goes over and plays in Europe. 98-99, January 11th, the Detroit Red Wings, who are, thinking things over, and they've won a couple of Stanley Cups, and probably thinking, we might as well give Petr Klima another chance. What can it hurt? So they sign him as a free agent on January 11th. He only plays 13 games for Detroit, records 1 goal. And it just wasn't working. So what you're dealing with is a guy who the goal scoring's gone, so the defensive issues, and as the guy gets older, he gets slower. It doesn't work out. So at the end of his career, 786 games played, 313 goals, 260 assists, 573 points. In the playoffs, 95 games, 28 goals, 24 assists, 52 points. The totals are there. The offense is there, but again, the defensive miscues and the consistency are why he ended up moving around as much as he did later in his career. And it is one of those things where it's kind of too bad that if he'd had that intensity, if he had that consistency, he could have been a 40-goal scorer every year. He wouldn't have just had the one 40-goal season. The talent was there. And so, yeah, pure goal scorer, Petr Klima. That's how I still view him, just a pure goal scorer. And there are some drawbacks when that is the pure talent that you're looking at. If, again, the defensive intensity doesn't quite reach where a coach would like it to. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.